Hi guys, welcome to Real Talk with Ihoma. So my name is Ihoma and I'm glad that you clicked this video to join me today. If you're coming here for the first time, thank you so much for clicking, and I hope you find reasons to subscribe and also give me a thumbs up and stay tuned with me to the end of this video. And if you're a returning subscriber, you're the real G. Thank you so much for always coming back. So today I'm just going to go straight into the topic, just like you've seen on your screen, the art of being a good listener. You know how like in a conversation it's difficult to just listen. We just love to talk, and I think it's not something that is peculiar to me because I've observed that it's a common thing among people. So it's a general thing. We just love to hear the sound of our voice. Well, I think that it's not just about us hearing the sound of our voice. I think people like to speak, or people like to talk, because in talking you express your thoughts, and in doing that you express yourself more and you get to learn more about yourself. And I feel also that people like to talk, or people like to speak in conversations or dominate conversations, because they feel that by doing that it kind of projects them to the other person as maybe more knowledgeable, or having it together, and just put them in a positive light, even though most of the times
I just wanna go, yeah. Me neither.
Studies have actually shown that 70 to 80% of our wake hours are spent in some form of communication. So it's either one is writing. I think writing is about 9% of that time, reading is about 13% or so, and talking or speaking I think is about 20 something percent. But listening was found to take about 45 to 55% of our waking hours. So you see why it's very important that you cultivate the art of good listening, not just listening. I totally agree with that statistics, because if you're not listening to music, you're listening to something on your phone, you're watching TV, you're listening, you're speaking with someone on the phone, you're listening, or you're having a person-to-person conversation, a meeting, somehow there's always some form of listening going on in our lives every single day. So it would only just do us good to cultivate the art of good listening. And let me also use this opportunity to clarify that when I talk about listening, I'm actually not talking about hearing. There are two different things, listening and hearing. So hearing is something done unconsciously, just our ears working. If your hearing sense organ is intact, hearing is something that you cannot help. So you can hear noise, you can hear music, you can hear voices, you can hear sounds, you can hear anything. You're not filtering it. However, listening is an active, is a conscious, is an attentive form of hearing. And I'm just going to go through some things that I have found that are components of good listening. So the first thing to be a good listener is that you always have to be present. You can't take away attention and focus from good listening. Okay, so let me give an example, right? So when I was married newly, like the first few years of my marriage, when we'll be talking, my husband and I, maybe everybody is trying to prove their point, everybody wants to just speak their mind and all. I also noticed that then my husband would let me, I would speak, I would talk. Then when it was his turn and he says something, and I'm like, no, this thing he's saying, at that point when he says something which I think maybe he says, okay, this is what I do, and in my mind I'm like, no, this is not what I do, this is not what I mean. At that point I just stop listening. I'm hearing, but I'm not listening, because in my mind I'm already formulating what to respond or what to reply, and somehow I just let that emotion overwhelm me, and I just cut him short and I start talking, because at that point I just feel like I have to correct this person, and that's very selfish looking at it, because what you're trying to do at that point is to say my opinion, or what I want to say is more important than what you were saying, and that's very disrespectful. if you cut somebody short, that also results from the fact that you're not present, or somebody is talking to you, you're listening and you're thinking about what you're going to do when you're done with the conversation, or you're thinking about what happened yesterday. You're being distracted by what's in your environment. That definitely takes out any form of good in listening. So you have to be present, cultivate that attitude, just leave everything you're thinking of and focus on what that person is saying. The second thing is the attitude you adopt when you're listening. I talk to myself when I'm listening. What I usually do is I try to adopt the position of a student. So I'm like, okay, this is my lecturer. After this, I'm asked to write an exam on what I just heard. Will I be able to? My intent is I really want to learn from what this person is saying. I want to understand, and this becomes very important, especially in a conversation where the speakers have conflicting views or differing opinions. Because in such conversations, we see that everybody just wants to dominate. They just want to tell you, look, my opinion is higher or my opinion is better. And that usually results in conflict. But it shouldn't be the case. If both parties would just really listen to understand where this person is coming from, no matter how controversial that person's opinion is. And doing that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to agree to the person's opinion at the end. It doesn't mean that, you have to accept and agree. No, but just give that person that benefit of doubt to say, okay, let me just understand. Let me learn from this person. Because, you're in life, nobody can know everything 100%. So everybody is a teacher. Every conversation is a teacher. It doesn't matter how stupid that person's opinion might sound, but just be open-minded enough to listen, to understand, listen, to be a student. Another point, to being a good listener is to encourage the speaker. Sometimes when someone is talking, just giving them some sounds like go on. Just encouraging them to say, look, I'm listening to you, I'm here, I'm hearing you, I want to hear more. Reflect on the times that someone has done that to you when listening to you. You feel validated, you feel this person is listening, and it feels good to feel that way. And I was talking with someone the other day. I was talking about why don't we listen to people when we're having a conversation? Why don't we listen to them like maybe we listen to people in a movie? When you're watching a movie, oh my God, you're listening, you're giving you 100% interest. And the person said, well, most times what people say or people's lives aren't as interesting as the movies. And that was a very good point. But then another thing is, you really never can tell. You really never can tell how interesting someone's story can be. I think the problem comes where most people tend to express themselves, with superficial adjectives or just superficially. And if you don't dig deep, you might not really maximize the sweetness of their story. So say, for example, someone maybe went somewhere. You're like, okay, how did the concert go? How did the party go yesterday? And the person was like, oh, it went well. That well could mean a whole lot of things. That well could mean met a friend from years ago. That well could mean something that they've been hoping for happened. That well could mean how they had fun, but if you are a good listener, you'll be able to dig deep to really help people just express themselves. Just show interest, and in that way people open up. In the end, you also get to hear good stories. And what are the things that you can actually achieve being a good listener? The first thing I would say is that being a good listener also helps you understand yourself better or learn about yourself. And you might ask me how. Well, here's what I think. When you're really listening to people and you're listening to understand them, you're putting yourself in that person's shoes, and maybe later on you can now start comparing. Okay, wow, this person did this is the same way I would have done it. Maybe something that someone is saying and you've never heard it before, a new concept, and you're like, oh, I like this concept, or I think I'm interested in this kind of thing, and it just opens a whole new world to you. Like, okay, I didn't know I would be interested in something like this. It just helps you also learn about yourself. And then the second thing listening can help you do is that it can actually help you prefer very well-rounded and balanced solution. Or even if you're trying to win someone over, if you're a good listener, you can actually achieve that. You cannot actually prefer a good solution or win people over if if you don't know where they're coming from. And that's why it's very important, especially in a conversation that has to do with people on the opposing sides. It's very important you listen, because you have to know where that person is coming from, understand where that person is at, so that you will be able to meet that person's needs from where they are at, not where you think they are at. And in that way, it becomes very personalized, whatever idea you're trying to sell, because this you know this is where this person is coming from, and you're meeting that person at that point. The person appreciates it more, because the person is like, okay, you listen to me and you're selling this idea based on what you've heard from me. It just creates this trust and respect for you. It just creates this bond between people, and in that vein, it also helps to reduce conflicts. And the third thing the art of good listening does is it connects people. You're not creating a foe. You're either creating an acquaintance, or you're creating a friend, creating partner. So basically that's it. The art of good listening is not something that you can just watch or you read about and then you do it for 1 day or 2 days and you're like, okay, that's it. No, it's something that you have to just continuously practice. Even I myself have been doing this for over 2 years. That's trying to just cultivate this art of good listening. I still have to catch myself sometimes when I am practicing bad listening. Maybe when I'm trying to cut someone short in the middle of their talk, or when someone is talking, my mind is somewhere. It's a process and it's a lifelong lesson. So it's not something that I expect to be perfect at, but at least I know that I have come a long way from where I used to be, and it has definitely improved my relationships and my conversations, and I've learned a whole lot from the other party. And other times I've also noticed that I'm the wrong one, I'm the wrong person, and I am grateful for that, because if I didn't listen to understand, I wouldn't have known that I was wrong, and whatever wrong opinion I was carrying, I would continue carrying it, and it will just be a ripple effect and cause so many other wrong things in my life. So I would really challenge everyone that's listening to me to practice the art of good listening. Okay, and that's it for today. I'll see you in my next video. Hey!
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Before you go, click the subscribe button. Come on, please click the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. You can also share this video on your social media network, and let me also know in the comment section what you think of the art of good listening. Is there any point I missed, or is this something you think that doesn't really sit well with you? I would really love to hear, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.